I mean, to be a curator, for me at least, it's creating like an experience within a space. It's not just about, here you go, some pretty art on the walls. But for me, I like to create that viewer experience of like walking through a space and being able to, reflect and think about the art and the concepts and really engage with it. So I think that's an important part of curating is creating that experience and connecting with the art and the artists and their ideas.
Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Palette, the Art Dimensions podcast. I'm your host, Whitney Rosenson, owner of Art Dimensions in Los Angeles. Today, I will be chatting with Alison Limtavemongkol, owner of the Open Mind Art Space in West LA. Open Mind is a beautiful gallery which Alison uses to exhibit contemporary art by some pretty fantastic artists. I'm so excited for our chat today, not only because Alison is great to work with, but also because with this 30-second episode, she is the first gallerist I've interviewed for the show. Hi, Alison.
Hi.
Welcome
Thanks
to Beyond the Palette.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. And thank you for being here. I so appreciate your time. I know how busy you are. All right.
Oh,
Let's dive in. Can you, for the listeners, can you explain your role at the Open Mind Art Space?
Oh, sure. Well, I'm the owner and director. I pretty much do everything. I wear all the hats here. So I'm also social media manager, the bookkeeper, the art installer, the janitor. I do everything here.
I know you have a lot of you wear a lot of hats. It's pretty amazing. Your role as the gallery director, as the gallery owner, how did you get started with that?
I was an art major back in undergrad at Loyola Marymount University. And my final year there, I decided, I want to curate a show with some of my classmates and just like, have a fun time and show what we have. So I curated a show, and my mentor was like, hey, you did a really great job. This, curating thing might be your thing. But, after graduation, I ended up, because my family owns real estate, I went into real estate property management for a while. And then several years later, the commercial property that we own had a vacancy. And I was kind of like, getting burnt out with corporate life. So I was like, well, maybe I could start an art gallery, see how it goes, so I decided to quit my job, and I just dove right in.
That's awesome. Just for everybody out there, tell us what being a curator really exactly means.
I mean, to be a curator, it's, creating, for me at least, it's creating like an experience within a space. It's not just about, here you go, some pretty art on the walls. But for me, I like to create that viewer experience of like walking through a space and being able to, reflect and think about the art and the concepts and really engage with it. So I think that's an important part of curating is creating that experience and connecting with the art and the artists and their ideas.
That's fantastic. So what's going on in the gallery presently?
Oh, right now I have this amazing artist. It's his second solo show here at Open Mind. His name's Milan Tiff, and he's a local LA artist. And he's showing a lot of his semi-abstract acrylic paintings, all 4x4 feet, and they're really vibrant and like conceptually edgy, and his technical skill is amazing. So I love having him back here.
Is he a young artist or an older artist?
He's older. He's been painting for decades now. He was an Olympic track athlete, actually. And yeah, and painting has been his hobby. And, he actually lives close by, and that's how he came to know me. He just walked in one day and then he showed me his work, and I was like, wow, my mind was blown. So I was like, I got to have your stuff up and we got to show the world what you have. So
So how long is this exhibit up for?
it's actually ending soon,
Okay,
but it'll stay online.
it'll stay online, right? And
Yeah.
I just want to mention your website, which is openmindartspace.com. So the listeners, if you're interested in Milan Tiff's work and knowing what Alison is talking about, and so head over heels for, go check that out.
Yes, please do. Thank you.
Sure. And how long has the gallery been operating?
We're actually going to be celebrating our 6th anniversary, and coming up is our annual anniversary exhibition. So I do one every year. And I invite back all the artists that I've shown in the past, and they get to show what they've been working on. And it's a great opportunity, for people to get prints and kind of, more affordable art under 500. So it's a
Right.
fun little celebration. But yeah, 6 years.
That sounds great. Okay, so 6 years. And when is that exhibit going to be happening?
The end of February, the last Saturday.
Is it just a one-day show?
It's actually going to be up for 2 weeks.
Oh,
And then
cool.
everything from the show will be on the online shop, which you can find on the website as well.
Thank you. I'm glad you
Mhm.
shared that. Thank you.
Yeah,
And I'm going to come see it for sure.
well, that'd be great.
Okay, let's dive in a little bit deeper. Think
Sure.
about your curating experiences and how do you decide whose work to show at Open Mind?
It's called Open Mind Art Space. Just broadly, people should have an open mind when they come in. But I do have some guidelines as far as what I show here. I created the space to be sort of like this Zen getaway kind of space where you can come in, it's quiet, it's comfortable. I don't really show anything that's kind of like scary or jarring, and more like meditative, easy on the eyes. But I also, being an artist myself, really appreciate artists that experiment with materials and really,
Push the boundaries.
yeah. And so I really appreciate material. And so I show different things like different mediums, sculpture, mixed media, installation art, sometimes performance art. So
It's such a great space and you've done such a beautiful job with it. I think everyone should go visit. It's on Santa Monica Boulevard near Federal in West LA. So describe your artwork. You're an artist too. Describe your artwork a little bit more. Like, what materials do you use? And when was the last time you showed in your space your own work?
ah, yes. So I'm, like I said, I love materials, and I like associating different feelings, emotions with different materials. So I use a lot of string in my pieces, or wire. My work kind of explores like the complexities of human emotions and the interactions and impact that we have on our relationships and just with people, like interpersonal relationships. I make a lot of assemblages with string, some involving paint.
And how long have you been creating work?
Um, it's been quite some time, but it's been hard to juggle between having, the business and focusing on curating. But I try to fit in my art practice when I can. But it's been since I graduated. It's probably been like more than 10 years.
Yeah, you don't have to say exactly how many years.
Okay, good. Thank you.
I know you were talking about property management and you were getting sort of burnt out with corporate life. Are there any other reasons why you decided to open the space? I mean, your love for art obviously is recognizable, but are there any other reasons you decided to open?
I just felt the need to do something more creative. I felt kind of stuck and unfulfilled. So yes, it was for the art aspect of it, but also, like a community of, artists and connecting with LA, just bringing people, making the space accessible to people to just come in and appreciate the art.
And I love the name Open Mind Art Space. I mean, it's, you know, be open-minded, take in everything that you see, be an observer. There's a community here, all that. I really appreciate that. I love that. I
Mhm.
think your visitors do too.
Thanks.
Is there a common thread amongst your exhibitions?
Yes, aesthetically, I do look for a level of skill as far as working with materials, the artist's knowledge of composition, color theory. I think that's important. But also just how do they relate to the viewer? I think that's also important. How does the art connect? You want to have some kind of reaction when
An
you look at
emotional reaction,
something.
right?
Exactly. And that's really it. I mean, some of it is kind of my own personal taste. Like I don't really show figurative work very often. And again, nothing really like scary or like too bold. I do emphasize like the conceptual part of it, which I think is also really interesting. So again, creating that experience, but being able to write about the work.
What's the hardest part about curating a show?
Uh, I think I kind of struggle a little bit with just writing like the press releases for the show or for the shows, just because I want to make sure that I get across, what the artist's vision is. And I, of course, want to bring people into the space to check it out. I want to accurately represent what the art is about. So sometimes it takes me a while to really get that right. But I'd say that's probably the hardest part. And once I get that done, I'm like really excited about promoting the shows and just getting it going. So
About how many do you have a year?
I usually have one about once a month. So usually the shows run for 4 weeks. And then there's about 1 or 2 weeks in between each show to take down the work and then put up the next show. So I'd say I'd have between 10 or 11 shows per year.
That's so fun. I had a small gallery in Studio City where I had, because of COVID, unfortunately, I couldn't do many shows. But when I had my space in Westwood, I did a show a quarter.
Oh,
So
yeah.
4 shows a year. And it was really fun. I miss that.
Yeah. I think the event planning part of it is a lot of fun.
It is. And do you have an assistant or you do everything just totally on your own?
I don't have an assistant. I do pretty much everything myself. Occasionally I'll have student interns that will volunteer and help out with various tasks. But they're students, so of course their studies are a priority. So I've just gotten so used to doing everything myself that if anything happens, I'll just do it.
Yeah. Well, for people who are listening who might know someone who was interested in interning, how can they apply or how can they get in touch with you?
Oh, sure. Yeah, they could email me at info@openmindartspace.com.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Now, what's your favorite part about curating a show?
Ah, yeah, I think my favorite part are the art openings, actually. That's, when everybody comes to kind of mingle and talk about the art, and that's kind of, my favorite part is like connecting with the community and bringing people in to just appreciate the art and talk with the artists. And so I love,
It's like,
bringing that energy into the space.
yeah. And that's like your culmination, that's for all of the work that you're doing. So, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I'd really love to maybe expand the space or have another space or even just like curating in other spaces because I love, I did a show in downtown at Backspace and that was amazing because it was a huge space and my love for sculpture, I was like so excited to fill this space with like these large pieces. So I would love to do more of that and collaborate with other curators, other, artists. And I guess in the long run, I'd like to show more international artists. I also want to do more art events, not just visual arts, but bringing, some musicians in to do music events.
What about workshops? Would you be open to
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
Yeah, I actually do one workshop. My friend is a sommelier, so we partner up and we do a wine and watercolor workshop, and we actually have one coming up March 6th, and it's awesome. I always learn more about wine each time, but she actually teaches about wine.
Sounds great.
Yeah, it's so much fun, and we get to taste different wines and afterwards, I teach a watercolor workshop, so everybody gets to work on their own watercolor painting, and it's a lot of fun. So I definitely would want to do more workshops like that in the future.
So it's like a paint. I mean, I hate to call it this, but like
Yeah,
a paint. What do they call it? Paint and sip.
yeah. It is sort of like a paint and sip, except that you're getting two classes in one because you're actually learning about wine as well. And then you get to have fun and work on a painting. So
Oh, that sounds so great. Then people can sign up on the website.
yeah, I haven't posted it yet, but I'll do it next week.
Okay. All right. So that's on March 6th. Is there anything else you want the community to know about you or anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I would just love for everyone to come and check out the space. And, if anyone has any questions for me, I'm usually here. So I just, would love for people to discover it and, support the artists that I have here. And
That's a great message. All right. The address of Open Mind Art Space is 11631.
that's correct.
That's right. Santa Monica Boulevard, LA 90025.
Correct. That's it.
Okay. And are you open Tuesday through?
So actually, the gallery hours are Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. But do check in just in case we might be closed in between exhibitions. So you can call or email, or we're on Instagram too. So
Perfect.
yeah.
Well, Alison, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being a guest on Beyond the Palette.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
It was a real pleasure. You can also follow us listeners on Instagram at Art Dimensions and at Open Mind Art Space. So thank you, everybody. And to Alison and everyone out there listening, thanks for tuning in. Have a productive week and happy creating.